So last month, I chatted quite a bit about different types of relationships, relationships with our clients, with ourselves, our partners, our community. And I had quite a strong focus around the ethical implications of the different relationships that we have as practitioners. And for schools specifically, the conversation that we had inside school for the month of February was based around the yamas, which is one of pretty much the counterpart to yoga's ethics. So yoga has two parts to its ethical structure. You have the yamas and the niyamas. Yamas, as I discussed, is our external ethics, how we show up in the world, how we relate to others. And this month, I want to shift that focus, keeping the conversation around ethics, because it is a really important conversation for us as practitioners. I want to shift it to the internal side of things, the niyamas, our internal ethics. The niyamas, same like the yamas, we have five, and they really are such a great way for us to, how we govern ourselves, and how we govern ourselves will have a lot to do with how we are showing up in the external world. It will have a lot of impact to what we look like from an ethical standpoint. So let's get into the first niyama, and that is purity. And I don't mean purity in a moral sense. I mean purity of mind, purity of intention, purity in the way that you are conducting your sessions, how you are between your sessions. So clearing your space between sessions, clearing yourself between sessions. How are you coming into sessions, and what are you bringing into your sessions? Are you bringing in residual frustration? Are you bringing in personal matters that you're inadvertently projecting onto your client? Where is your mind, and how clear is your mind? So we could look at clarity. If we had to flip another word into it, clarity would be another alternative word that we could use for purity. So having purity as a practitioner, it's not just what we're thinking, what we're speaking, what we're putting out, what we're putting into our bodies, what we're putting onto our bodies. What are we subjecting ourselves to on an energetic capacity? So keeping that level of clarity and purity for ourselves allows us to show up with a lot more purity and clarity inside our sessions. The second niyama is contentment. And this isn't to be confused with complacency. I've had this conversation with a practitioner in the past. I was asked the question, what do I feel like I'm lacking right now? And I struggled to answer the question because I have the practice of being content. And it was misunderstood that I meant contentment as in I'm just settling for the life that I've got, that I don't have ambition, I don't want to have any drive or move myself forward or have any growth. And that's not what we mean by when we talk about contentment. It's about absolutely still pursuing growth, healthy growth. It's still about wanting to have ambitions and goals and things in life, but we're not grasping for those things. We're not feeling a sense of, I need to have these things because I'm lacking them. So you're operating from a space of, I have everything that I need right now, and there's always room for more. There's always room for more growth. There's always room for improvement. So contentment isn't about that complacency of like, well, this is what life has given me, so this is what I'm going to go with. It really is about finding a sense of peace and stillness within the self, and having peace with where you are at, but without making those the borders of, okay, well, this is what I've got, so that's where I'm staying. Contentment, true, authentic contentment, allows one to still strive for bigger and better things, but from a healthier place. I would like to grow and expand my practice. I would like to have more clients, but I don't desperately need them. I don't desperately need more clients. I don't desperately need to pay my bills. Now we're coming from a place of grasping, but we come from a place of contentment. Right now I do have all the things that I need, but I still also have space to add additional things that will complement that or expand me or grow me in the right ways. We then have discipline. And again, this is not to be taken at like face value discipline of like, you got to be rigid and routine and structured. And I know I talk a lot about routines and structures and systems, and you got to have all of this stuff in place. And yes, you do. Okay, don't bypass those things. But when I talk about discipline, I'm not talking about you've got to get up at 4 a.m. and do your yoga and light your candles and see your first client at 9 a.m. Rather, it is consistency in your practice. Consistency is what builds discipline inside your practice. So if we had to shift the word around and look at it from a place of practicing consistency, that is the niyama of discipline. Moving into the fourth niyama, this is self-study. Probably one of the most crucial and most beneficial of the niyamas for a practitioner, because we need to know who the hell is going to show up in your session with your clients. You need to have that high level of self-awareness. You need to know, are you projecting? Are you bringing in frustration? Are you inadvertently causing harm? Are you have you got purity of mind and energy and emotions? And this comes through the practice of self-study. And I'm a big advocate of, if you are a practitioner, you've got to be very self-aware. I do have my course available that builds self-awareness for practitioners. It's inside my school community. Absolutely go and check it out. I'll drop the link in the description. But the practice of self-study, I mean, ideally we want to do all the niyamas and we want to do all the yamas. But if you're like, I can only choose one tab, self-study. Okay, like that will help you know, have you got purity? Have you got contentment? Have you got discipline? And those things are built through understanding the self. So self-study is imperative, because self-study also how are you showing up in the yamas that I chatted about last month. So self-study is, if you have to pick one, self-study. Okay. I'm kind of letting everybody off the hook here. The final niyama, this is surrender to something bigger than yourself. I do love the Sanskrit word for it, Ishvari Pranadana. It just rolls off the tongue so beautifully, and it is a beautiful practice. It's also one of the hardest. Like, we all talk about letting go. A lot of us as practitioners, when we're working with clients, we're like, "Oh, you need to just let go," and they're all like, "Yeah, but how?" And you're like, "I don't know. To figure it out." Surrender to that there is something bigger out there than us, and we can't control everything. We can't control every narrative. We can't control every client that's going to walk into our session. We can't control every client's outcome. In fact, we can't control any client's outcome. We can't control the experience that they're going to have. So what we can control is how we show up within our sessions, and we surrender the rest of it. We let the rest of it go. We hand that over to God, source, divine, universe, whatever wonderful label we want to slap on it. We surrender to that. We surrender to the process of our client's process. We allow our clients to step fully into their process and take full ownership of that. And we surrender to that allowance. So surrender is really one of the it can be difficult, especially if you do have a tendency to be controlling, and you want to know that your clients are going to do what they should be doing. But it is a beautiful practice once you really grasp the hang of it, because it is a very liberating practice, because we don't get stuck on the expectations. We don't have expectations of our clients where it's like, oh, you're going to come for your Reiki session and you're going to feel like this. You're going to have so many coaching sessions with me and you're going to come out like this. I surrender to the process of my client's process, because I have no control over it. So all I can do is surrender. So the practice of surrender is something, absolutely put it in your toolbox and lean on it. It's going to be incredibly helpful for you as a practitioner. So inside school for the month of March, we are chatting about the niyamas. We're chatting about our internal ethics. How do you feel about surrendering to your client's process? How do you feel about doing self-study? Where are you at with your self-study? How much self-awareness have you got for yourself? What does your discipline look like? Are you disciplined at all? Or are you just kind of, I'm going to get up and I think I'm going to see some clients today if I feel like it? Are you flimsy and floppy, or you have a little bit of structure and system in place? How are you feeling around being content? Are you content with where you are, or do you feel like you're constantly grasping for more and needing more? And then on the side of purity of mind, purity of energy, purity of intention. How much purity have you got showing up inside your sessions with your clients? Come have the conversation inside school. Links are down in the description. If you're not inside school, why? Tam is a big advocate of school, so please do come and join the community. My school community is a free community. It is free to join. It's free to join in these conversations. I do have my paid tier, which gives you access to a whole bunch of really cool things, though, if you want to do that. But absolutely come and join the conversation in school. I want to hear how these internal ethics are showing up for you. Are you practicing any of them? If not, why not? And what do you feel, if you did bring them into your practice, what difference would they make for you?